So, on the last video we've seen parry, and towards the end of the video we actually saw parry, and what we did, which was sort of a mistake, well it wasn't a mistake, we tried to parry only hit the damage colliders of the enemy. Okay, that in theory will work, but it didn't work then, and we commented out in the parry collider. Okay, it's this one. What I forgot to do though is that the parry collider of the enemy, they don't actually have parry or they don't have damage colliders, so they will never open or close because they don't have damage colliders. So this still stands that we can test it, or at least we're going to test it later when we actually have proper enemies. Just keep that in mind. And I want to work a little bit different the behavior right now for parry, and because I thought maybe we can just that maybe we can make it so that we actually reuse the same logic for backstabbing as well. And we should probably update this one in here too. We'll fix this in a bit. Okay, so what we're doing when we're checking for parry, if there is a parry target, then we are doing we're checking the distance we are from the target, and then we are doing all of this. Okay, and we are checking for angle. Instead of checking for a parry target, we can actually just do, let's comment this, and what we can do is do a raycast first, raycast hit, back to 3. Origin will be our own position. We're going to make it a little bit, we're going to add a little bit on our Y, maybe 1 should be enough. Direction of course is going to be transform forward, and then we're going to do parry target. I believe we had it as an enemy state, so that means instead of storing the parry target, we will have it somewhere here it is. We can do, or better yet, let's reuse this, and we're going to set it up in here, enemy states, parry target. Okay, it will start as null, and we're going to do a raycast. If physics.raycast origin direction, and we have a duplicate direction, so raydir out hit. The distance, since we're checking for 3, well, it's probably 3b3, or let's go with 3 at least now, and in the future we can see what we want to do. So I think we also have ignore layers. We already have the ignore layers. Actually, the ignore layers might not work in this case. We'll see. Okay, we have raycast, and if we hit something, so we're going to do enemy states, or better yet, let's just assign it directly. Parry target will be hit.transform.get component in parent, enemy states, and if it's null, then even if this is null, okay, doesn't matter because we still have the check that's basically just going to return back. Now I think we can encapsulate also this for using either the parry or the backstab, but well, you know, it's the same animation. The only thing that's going to change is the animation of the enemy, which we don't have right now, either for parry or for backstab. So, you know, it all works. We need to fix though the check for parry. I think we need to fix in the enemy states. We are assigning a parry target to the state manager. Okay, let's comment this out. Let's try this. Let's see what other errors we have. Parried by. Yeah. Comment this out. Let's try it. And yeah, it works as expected for the most part. Okay. The timers need a little bit of, you know, setting up or tweaking to be exact, but yeah, our behavior works just fine. So let's see, instead of the parry, we can create the same thing but for backstab. So to do the backstab, we can just, yeah, it's pretty much the same logic with this one. Well, this is the that gets parried. So let's go into our state manager or actions manager, I think. Let's start with action manager. Okay, attack, block, spells, parry. Backstab is kind of a special case that goes on the attack. So that means on state manager, when we are checking for an action, okay, and actually before we detect action, I believe, no, after we detect the action, we have attack action. The same way we are checking for parry, we will also do a check for backstabbing. So let's check. Let's put a boolean in here. Check for backstab. Action slot. And you can go into the actions and say that, you know, this action can backstab, this other action cannot backstab. We'll see. We'll do that in a second. Well, you know, after a bit. Let's take all of this. Well, it's around the same deal, and I think you have to be pretty close for backstab. Okay, let's see what else we can get. Well, we need the check. The distance check is kind of redundant in this case, because if it's out of this range, then the raycast won't hit him. So let's remove this. The same thing will go for, yeah, the same thing will go for the backstabbing. If it's higher than the one, then that means it wouldn't really matter. So let's see. We have, if we hit something, we have a parry target. We still need the direction. We still need the angle, but we need to do a few changes. So the angle we need to do a check for. Transform forward and there. Now we need to do the actual opposite of that. Or, well, yeah, we still need the same, but we can also do the exact opposite. So if the angle is greater than, if 180 is straight back, or yeah, I think no, it should be relative from yeah, it should be relative from the enemy's back. So we're going to actually do the opposite. In here we're going to say transposition minus parry target, normalize the angle, and instead of passing our own transform, we're going to pass the transform of the parry target, or well, let's rename this. Instead of parry target, let's call him Backstab, because we're going to get confused. Okay, so for us to be able to do a backstab, we need to be 170, not 170 degrees, well, maybe 160, let's go 150. So if the angle from where the enemy is looking and us is higher than 150, that means we are on his back. We're not doing a dot because we need to be more precise on the angle. Okay, we need to be exactly in a small degree, otherwise it's just going to be too easy, and we don't want that. And then we can get all of this. And we can say, let's fix the backstab, 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 backstab. Target position will be the parry offset. Since it's the same animation, the parry offset with the backstab offset should be the same. We have the direction, yeah, it doesn't matter. We want though the enemy to look towards our opposite direction. So that means look direction will be, let's go with this one. Look direction, okay. Yeah, let's leave it at this. We'll see what's wrong with it, and we're going to fix it when it's well, you know, we're going to see what's wrong with it, and then we're going to fix it. Because for the most part I believe should be the same, should work properly. Check for backstab. When we are doing the attack action, you can do, well, you can see now if you want to do first a check for backstab, or then you can do after a check for parry. Technically, if you're doing a parry to an enemy, you're not really going to be also at the same time behind him. So that means it's redundant to whatever order you're putting it in here. But well, you know, you never know when you have players playing your game. What's going to happen is really unpredictable. Check for backstab. Pass the slot. Do a return. Oops. Okay, when we make also the animations, we're going to, when I make the animations, we're going to revisit this. So let's go back to this guy. And yeah, it works fine, but we need to fix the rotation of the enemy. So that probably needs to happen from the enemy side. Okay, he's getting parried. We don't want the he's getting parried. We're going to create a new one. No, it's already everything we need in here. We're going to be changing the animation later. And so that means on our state manager, let's go over our rotation. Our target position will be the direction we have, the opposite direction we have, okay, with multiplied by a parry offset. Our target position will be plus, yeah, this is correct. This is going to be our target position because we're adding from that direction also the backstab position or from the guy. And then the enemy rotation will be, yeah, this one should have been probably like this. We still need the opposite, but we have changed the direction in here. Okay. Let's try it one more time. Hopefully this is going to be correct. Oops. Yeah, it's not. Let's see again. Look rotation will be minus direction. Well, actually, look rotation of the enemy. We don't need this. It's the same rotation as our own player, so we can say our own rotation will be the same as your own. Okay, because they are looking towards the same position. And for some reason we still, unless it takes it as a backstab, it takes it as a parry. Let's put a debug log in here. It's getting parried, and it never comes to this. Check for backstab. Oh, yeah, it's probably that. Yeah, because there's no check that the check for parry now doesn't have. I don't believe that there is a reason why it cannot find parry target. So what we can also do is, on the enemy stage we have check for parry target. Let's see where we're calling this. On trigger enter, this will going to turn it as it's going to enable him as parry. So go definition, we are coming in here and we're basically going to set the we're going to do a check. If parried by has something, is not null, then that means the enemy is getting parried. So check for parry target equals null. If parry target dot I think we also need to make this public. Yeah, parried by is null, then do a return or return false. Okay, because we were coming in the parry instead of going into the backstab, that's why we had the wrong rotations on the player. If we put first the backstab though, then that wouldn't be a problem. Yeah, and we need to also fix the rotation, our target position. So okay, we're using the wrong ones. So let's fix them as well. And to fix those, we need direction. We need the proper. Oops. Return false. This will be check for backstab. We need I think the direction is now from our position, the backstab position, multiplied by the backstab offset. Yeah, this is correct. This might actually be just now our rotation will stay the same. So let's clean this up a little bit. Our rotation will just stay the same. We're just going to rotate the target. Let's also rename this to enemy rotation. So the target will actually, we don't need any of this. We need only the target position. We're going to delete all of this and we're just going to say transform rotation or backstab rotation will be transform dot rotation. Okay, we just want him to rotate the same way or look at towards the same position we are. Let's try to see also if the parry, okay, doesn't have any problems now, and the backstab works fine. I think we need to maybe fix a little bit the offset or something like that. Of course, there's also the animation that needs work, so that it doesn't seem that we are missing him. Okay, but this works really nice. And we can also do backstabs. Cool stuff. So that's the one. Let's also go and fix the on the action manager. Let's also encapsulate this, because this is horrible. What we're going to need an action, a weapon, an action, a second action that we're taking from the weapon. Okay, and then we are going to be passing the variables from one or the other. And we also need the action inputs. So let's go and write it up here. Public void deep copy action. We need weapon. Okay, the target weapon. And we also need the action input. Let's go with INP. So we have, this is redundant, we already have the weapon. We now need our actions. We're going to say action A will be get action input. Now we need the action from the weapon. Action WA will be W dot get action input. Now it should just be A dot W, not W, WA. Oops, we have a problem. Let's see. Oh, we also need to pass the list, so that will be W dot actions input. Okay. No? Yeah, correct. WA dot target. No. RB is the action. Let's copy paste all this. A, not if. A. So we're passing all the actions. Let's browse through all of this, and we also should check left for the left hand. So to do that, left hand mirror, we need to know if it's the left hand. So we can now do is left hand will start as false, and if is left hand, LB and LT, no, LB is the W action, no, it's the action alone, and we delete that. So before we actually delete all of this, let's comment them out, and let's put this guy deep copy action states inventory manager right hand weapon. The action input will be the right bumper, and it can stay false. Right hand weapon again, action input right trigger. Oops. Deep action. Now we need left hand weapon and left hand weapon, and we need LT, LB, true, because it's the left hand, LT, and now true again if it had a left hand weapon. So we can also do if has, where was it? Do we have it in here? We can say bull has left hand weapon, will start as false, or no. Maybe it's best if we leave the inventory manager to select that. So if states.inventory manager dot has left hand weapon, then apply it like that, else do a copy paste of the above. It's still a right hand, okay, and left bumper, left trigger from the right hand weapon. Let's see if this plays, and if it does, we're going to delete all of these. And it doesn't. Let's see why. WA is not assigned for some reason. Let's see where else it's called. The camera manager. That's probably a problem with initialization. So that means that we are doing, when we initialize update action one hand, let's see, where was it? Update actions one hand, checks for left hand weapon, update actions with left hand. Oh, we probably don't need this. Yeah, we don't need that one, I believe. Update actions with left hand weapon, we should delete this. And this will also be, well, before we delete stuff, let's play it safe. Take all this out, update actions. We should also change the name, I believe. Update actions with left hand is not a good name. Right hand weapon, right hand, right trigger. Okay, so let's see that if we actually have actions, not on the action, let's see on our swords, right hand. Yeah, I think it's because we don't have. Oh, yeah, I found the problem. We were using, I believe, from the left hand weapon, we want to actually use the right bumper and right trigger instead of the left bumper and left trigger. Right hand weapon, and we should probably also do get input. If the weapon doesn't have an action, is null, then return. Okay, so it's basically if you don't assign an action on the weapon, it's just going to return. It's not going to throw you an error. Let's hit play, and this is a little bit off. We have the opposite right now, as I can see. Yeah, we have the opposite, and that is because we need to break it a little bit apart. So we are passing the deep copy. On the deep copy, we are also passing the action input that we want, but in here we want to pass the input for the weapon, the actions, but we need to assign them on a different slot. Okay, and that's why this didn't work. So we need to also add input, action input, assign. Well, let's go with assign, and instead of the get action, no, instead of the first action, we're going to use the assign, and the get action is what we're getting from the weapon. So in here we should also pass the same one. Oops. And the same one. Right trigger, and in this one I'm going to pass the left hand LB. And left trigger, and in here we're going to also do the same. So in theory, all weapons probably only can have only 2 actions. So the other actions are the default actions. So if you only have a right hand weapon and you have on the left trigger your parry, well, that just tells me that, you know, the parry is from the unarmed and not from the right hand weapon. So also keep that in mind. Oops. Okay, let's try it now to see if we got our triggers or our weapons correct, and yeah, they are now correct. We have our parry and we have our block as it is. Let's backstab this fool. And he got backstabbed. Now, let's see, let's also make it so that we can select which actions can backstab and which can't. So on our action slot, all we have to do is say, because a lot of weapons can backstab, of course, public bull can backstab, and yeah, let's start it with false. And we're going to change it and only put it on the left, on the right bumper. And now we can say update states, right axis. You can basically hard code it so you can only backstab when you are pressing the left bumper, but I think that will be the wrong way to do it. Okay, we still need flexibility, even though you might never use it. You never know when you want to use it, so it's best to have it and not use it, rather than having to change all your code just to add something new. So if backstab is false, return false. Okay, so now it's not going to let me to backstab. So I'm going to go into my right hand weapon and say on my first action, right bumper can backstab to true. If I go now behind him, okay, right trigger doesn't backstab. Well, in this case, the left trigger didn't backstab too. Oh yeah, we also need to pass it on the action manager. And action manager, that's why we did the whole deep copy. We can do a can backstab w a dot can backstab. Let's delete this one since we know that it's working. And we can say update actions with left hand instead. Well, now this is redundant also, so let's take all of this, cut it, and let's put it in here, and let's delete this. Okay, it now works just fine with just one function, and it's also encapsulated. Close it and hit play. Now the deep copy we're doing, it's not deep, it's not true deep copy, because we have a few stuff that are different. Hopefully you know what deep copy is. Okay, so with right bumper I can backstab, with right trigger or anything else I can't. Okay, which also is pretty cool. So yeah, we're going to leave this at that, and the next stuff we're going to do a few more stuff that we're going to create another utility to help us with all our icons and stuff like that. Okay, so I think it's best if we just leave it at here and make this concise just for the backstab. So you know what to do. Like, subscribe, praise the sun, or any other covenant you might want. Okay, and if you like to see more and you like to support me so I can keep making all this stuff, then you can support me either on Patreon or by grabbing a project or two from Gumroad. You also get additional rewards depending on your pledge tier on Patreon. So I'll see you next time.